Fuels and oils can pose a significant threat to the environment and human health if not managed properly. Where fuels or oils are spilled and cause, or risk causing, pollution, the responsibility for containing and remediating the pollution rests with the person or business who has control of them, regardless of who owns them. Fuel and oil storage. The containers used to store fuels and oils must be strong enough to hold the contents without leaking or bursting and must be positioned to avoid damage. A secondary containment system such as a bund or drip tray must be provided to catch any oil leaking. The containment system must have enough capacity to contain at least 110% of the maximum contents of the container. If more than one container is stored, the bund should be capable of storing at least 110% of the largest tank or 25% of the total storage capacity, whichever is the greater. Mobile bowsers or fuel cubes used to store oils or fuels should have an integral bund. If intermediate bulk containers are used, these should be placed on a bunded pallet. The base and walls of the bund must be impermeable and checked regularly for cracks and leaks, repairing as necessary. Any valve, filter, sight gauge, vent pipe or other ancillary equipment must be kept within the bund when not in use. Make sure all pipework is properly supported and protected from accidental damage. Mechanical joints must be accessible for inspection and maintenance. Locate fuel or oil storage areas at least 10 meters from a watercourse and 50 meters from a spring well or borehole. Refueling. All fuel, oil and chemical deliveries must be supervised by a responsible person who will be trained to deal with any spillage to prevent a pollution problem occurring. Drums, cans and intermediate bulk containers must be placed within a secondary containment or secure storage area immediately on delivery. New bowsers delivered should be checked in the secondary skin for debris and spilled oil. If present, they should be cleaned out appropriately. Storage tank levels are to be checked before delivery to prevent overfilling and to ensure that the product is delivered to the correct tank. Joints on hoses being used to fill tanks and bowsers should be checked immediately once pumping starts. If a leak is detected, stop the fuel transfer immediately. When planning your site, you should include a designated area for refueling. The refueling area should be on a hard standing and located far enough away from high-risk locations. The area and containers should be clearly signposted. Include a spill bin with the appropriate contents. And include the relevant fire protection items for the site or premises. Finally, ensure that the storage containers are secure to protect them from vandalism or unauthorized use. Refueling on site should be carried out in a designated refueling area. Where possible, containers used for refueling should have integrated fuel pumps and hoses with an auto shut-off device. Place absorbent mats under plant and equipment during refueling. Avoid using drip trays outdoors unless you have a plan in place to deal with any rainwater collected in the tray. When refueling away from the designated area, it is important to only use containers suitable for the storage and transfer of fuel. Use absorbent pads or containment system under the item being refueled. When refueling, use funnels, spouts and other appropriate filling equipment. Once refueling has been carried out, return all containers back to the designated storage area. If any oil is spilled or leaks into the secondary containment system, deal with this immediately and contact your safety, health and environment team in all instances. Store any waste fuel, oil or chemicals, including any materials that come into contact with these, as hazardous or special waste. Never empty waste oil or oily wastes onto the ground or into drains. Spill response. In the event of a spill, and if safe to do so, stop, contain, notify and clean up. Stop work immediately. Stop the leak or eliminate the source of the spill. Eliminate ignition sources and provide natural ventilation. When containing the spill, ensure appropriate personal protective equipment, PPE, is available to use where necessary. Use pollution control equipment, for example spill kits, drip trays, buns of earth and sand, to contain the spill. Check the spill has not reached any drains, watercourses, or other sensitive areas and cover all drains or manholes to prevent the spill from entering the drainage system. If the spill has already reached a sensitive area, call the UK Pollution Hotline on 0800 80 70 60. Once the spill has been contained, notify your emergency contacts. When cleaning up, attempt to soak up the spill with absorbent material. Always follow your duty of care for waste when disposing of contaminated materials. If you do have a spill, use the pollution hierarchy for the options on how best to manage it. These are, in order of preference: contain at the source, contain close to the source, contain on the surface, contain in the drainage system, and finally, contain on, or in the watercourse. For further information, scan the QR code to download the Guidance for Pollution Prevention, GPP, 22, Dealing with Spills document.